Hello, everyone. Events in the news have led to an interesting opportunity to look at consequential damages and the typical IT contract's exclusion of those damages. So I thought I'd take advantage of it because it's something we spend a lot of time on in our training programs. So the events are the very public dispute between CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity provider, and its customer, Delta Airlines. So what happened is that on July 19th, there was a worldwide outage for CrowdStrike that took airline computer systems down and stranded passengers. And apparently, worst hit was Delta Airlines, which took the longest to recover. The CEO of Delta went on the news and blamed CrowdStrike as well as Microsoft and said there's going to be consequences, litigation, etc. The attorney for CrowdStrike fired back a letter, which is interesting. And in the letter, it's a sort of public relations letter defending them to the public, but he also says things that I think very much have in mind a typical exclusion of consequential damages from a technology contract. I think that's a lot of what is implied by what he says, even though we haven't seen the contract. So let's look at this issue briefly. First of all, consequential damages. The normal IT contract says direct damages are allowed, but indirect damages aren't. And consequential damages is a category of indirect damages. This is a slide from the Tech Contracts Masterclass where we spend a lot of time on this, a little reformatted. But direct damages are losses that naturally and ordinarily flow from a breach of contract. They're predictable. Indirect damages is everything else, and consequential damages, the big category, is losses arising from the party's special circumstances. Often lost profits, but not necessarily. It's the question is, was it a normal, predictable outcome of the loss? So that's the issue likely on the minds of the attorneys for these two parties in their exchange of nasty letters, at least the letter from CrowdStrike. And here's some quotes. So the CrowdStrike lawyer complains about the, quote, misleading narrative that CrowdStrike is responsible for Delta's IT decisions and response to the outage. Obviously, it's a blame shifting thing, but it also has great significance if you're going to talk about consequential damages, because Delta's IT decisions are a very good candidate for a source of consequential damages, not predictable, specific to Delta, as opposed to direct damages, which would be the normal outcome. And the lawyer for CrowdStrike reinforces that more. Delta, if it's going to sue, will have to explain to the jury ultimately why Delta's competitors facing similar challenges all restored operations much faster. That is absolutely an argument, at least in addition to its public value, about consequential damages. These are obviously, Delta's loss was obviously consequential, special to its circumstances, because its competitors didn't suffer them. The competitors maybe define what's direct damages, where Delta's losses are consequential. And the lawyer goes on. Delta's going to have to explain the design, operational resiliency of its IT infrastructure, the way it responded, the way it handles system upgrades, etc. Again, all stuff that would be unique to Delta, unique to this situation, at least arguably, and therefore consequential damages, and not direct damages. So I think the letter kind of illustrates what really goes on in these situations, even though we don't quite know what the contract terms say. And it also points out why there's some logic to there being an exclusion of consequential damages for technology vendors. I usually tell even representatives of customers in our trainings that it's not an unreasonable ask for the IT vendor. And I think this situation shows the vendor doesn't want to be on the hook for unique issues that have to do with the customer, whether to do with what the customer did wrong or not. So that's the issue. As I said, we go into great detail about this in our Tech Contracts Masterclass. So check that out. It's the third masterclass if you're interested in that. And please check out our other trainings. And I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.